everybody, it's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to the video that you have all been anticipating for so long. Yes, each and every one of my faithful viewers, friends, and fans, today is the day that I give you all a guided tour of my DVD collection. Now, I gotta tell you, this is gonna be a very long video, because you all know that there's a lot of stuff to showcase. As a matter of fact, 2 shelves worth of things to showcase. So I'm gonna try and give these all to you in the easiest and least strenuous way possible by going shelf by shelf. I may go into a little bit of detail in regards to specific DVDs that I really think that you should take a look at if you haven't, but all in all, it's just going to be a simple rundown of everything that I currently have, and I'm hoping that you will all appreciate the video that I'm about to bring you today. Also, we all know for a fact that my collection is going to continue to grow, but I don't think I'm going to be able to give you guys another guided tour, at least for a very, very long time. So, I will also let you in on a couple of tidbits in regards to DVDs that I anticipate on getting, as well as a couple that I will be adding to my collection thanks to my fiancé. Unfortunately, her DVDs didn't make the trip to the apartment. They're either in storage or they are with her parents, which means it's going to be a little bit of time for some of these DVDs to actually join our collection. Not just mine, our collection. So without further ado, let's get to the tour. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is how this is actually set up. We actually have the couch where I sit. As a matter of fact, this was my fiance's idea, to actually put the shelves behind the couch. So what could happen is, when you want to go grab a DVD, you just go around, and there's a little pathway going to the shelves. What I am going to be doing is I am going to be pulling the couch out so I can actually get to the shelves, especially the bottom rows, but there's other things here that can definitely be showcased, like music, and we've also got some pops, and for all of you select Mets fans out there, I've got my Mets shrine right over here, more CDs over here. Maybe in a future video, if I hit 2,000 subscribers or 3,000 subscribers, maybe I'll go into some of my other fandoms. But now that you know how to get to the DVDs, let's start with the shelf to the left, which is my television collection. So we're going to start off with one of my all-time favorite television shows, and that, of course, is Married with Children. I have all 11 seasons. And then we've got another classic television show from my younger days, and that, of course, is Seinfeld. As far as I'm concerned, the greatest television show of all time. I have all 9 seasons in 8 volumes, because Volume 1 is Seasons 1 and 2. A very underrated show from the mid-2000s, Boston Legal, had a great cast including James Spader, Candice Bergen, and William Shatner. It's a law show with a little bit of a comedic twist thrown in. I highly recommend it. Another cult classic, which is News Radio. It starred a whole bunch of unknowns now known, including the great Phil Hartman, rest his soul. This was one of the coolest and most innovative and smart television shows in the late 1990s. If you haven't seen News Radio, I highly recommend it, and I think you'll be very surprised. This is all 5 seasons, as the first and second season are on the first volume. I also have HBO's The Newsroom, starring Jeff Daniels. I don't have Volume 3 yet, but I actually just ordered it, so I will have the full series very, very soon. Such a great show. Moving down to the next shelf, we've got the first 3 seasons of The Muppet Show, which is just a classic television show. If you don't like The Muppets, you have no soul. I have no idea when Volumes 4 and 5 are coming, but I would love to have this entire series, and I'm seriously considering adding the brand new Muppet Show to my collection. We've got the entire series of Heroes. I have no intentions of collecting Heroes Reborn. I really think that the seasons after Season 1 were not bad at all. It's a really good show as a whole. And now we're going to get into something I'm very proud of. These are my comic book shows that are animated. I've got the HBO series Spawn. I have the rare MTV's The Max. I have the entire series of the 1990s X-Men animated series. I have all of the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which was another short-lived Marvel show, very good, but how can I not dedicate half the shelf to the Bruce Timm collection? I've got the entire Batman the Animated Series, I've got Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Volume 2 is right over here. It's a tiny little sliver here. The entire series of Young Justice, and the entire series of Green Lantern, the animated series. Moving down to the next shelf, we have another great show from my childhood. It is the entire series of Animaniacs. It took a very long time to get Volume 4, but I am so happy to have each and every one of these in a part of my collection. I have the entire series of the CBS comedy How I Met Your Mother, and yeah, the television ending was not great, but the ending that is also included in the last volume is actually much better as far as I'm concerned. The entire series thus far of The Big Bang Theory, I definitely plan on getting Volume 9 when it comes out. The entire series of Entourage, including the Entourage movie. This is the only movie that I am including in this shelf because Entourage the movie is very closely linked to the Entourage TV show. If you haven't watched the TV show, you will still enjoy the movie, but you won't get a lot of the references. And of course, how could we not have a television collection without The Simpsons? I have all of the seasons that are being released on DVD. Unfortunately, they stopped at season 17. They, for some strange reason, made season 20 the year that the show turned 20. Why, I have no idea. But the fact that we go all the way to season 17 and we don't have seasons 18 and 19 just doesn't make sense to me. I hope that Fox reconsiders. We also have the short-lived show The Critic, created by the same creators of The Simpsons, starring Jon Lovitz. One of the best comedies I ever saw. If it would have come out at the time when Family Guy got reintroduced, as well as all the other animation shows that are out there that are more geared toward adults, I think The Critic would have been very successful. Speaking of Family Guy, I of course do have all of the current releases of Family Guy except for Volume 13. I haven't gotten it yet, but I also have Stewie Griffin, The Untold Story. I also have Family Guy Parental Terms of Endearment, which was the banned episode, as well as the Family Guy Star Wars spoof. I also have the first 8 volumes of American Dad. I really enjoy this show. I don't know if I'm going to continue collecting these, but every single time when I always question myself in regards to this show, I watch the new volume and it makes me laugh. We've got The Oblongs, which was another short-lived show starring the voice of Will Ferrell. It's a bit disturbing, but very, very funny. We've got the entire series of Drawn Together. If you haven't seen Drawn Together, you have to. It is the greatest thing to ever make fun of reality television. It's so great, and if you're an animation fan, you will totally love this show. Invader Zim, which is also one of the most underrated television shows out there. I have no idea why it got taken away early from Nickelodeon. It developed such a major cult following, and it really is a great show. And to conclude all of the adult-oriented comedies, we're going to take a look at my Adult Swim collection. I have all of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, including Aqua Unit Patrol Squad 1, the entire series of Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, the entire series of C-Lab 2021, and the first 6 volumes of Robot Chicken. I will be getting Volume 7 very soon. And let's conclude the television shelf with my anime collection. I'm a big anime fan, but I don't have as many series as most people, but I do have some very well-known ones. I have the entire series of Ranma 1/2, which also includes the OVA episodes. I also have the entire series of Love Hina, along with the OVA episodes. Now I'm on the floor, so I gotta bend down very uncomfortably to show you the bottom shelf of my TV bookshelf, and that, of course, is all of my Dragon Balls. I've got Dragon Ball, I've got Dragon Ball Z, and I've got Dragon Ball GT, and that includes, of course, the Dragon Ball movie 4-pack, and all of the steel books of the movies. They're all double features except for the Broly collection, which is a triple feature, and of course I also have Battle of the Gods and Resurrection F. I also have the entire series of Samurai 7, the entire series of Asumangadayo, and the entire series currently of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, as well as the film The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, which is one of the most unique anime series and films that I have ever seen. I can't really describe it to you. If you want to know more about this show, if you haven't heard about it, just leave me a comment and I'll give you a little bit of a rundown. And to conclude, all the way here in the corner is a great anime called Princess 9. If you are a fan of anything baseball and film, if you like movies like A League of Their Own, The Sandlot, Major League, this is such an amazing anime of an all-girls baseball team in high school competing in an all-male tournament to get to the championship. It's a great story about friendship and baseball, so if you like that, I highly recommend you hunt down Princess 9. So that concludes my television shelf, and we are going to move on to the movie shelf. So we're going to start off here at an shelf that is not entirely filled because there is definitely going to be room for more. It's my Disney Classics collection. The only one that I currently own that we do not have on the shelf is my fiance's copy of Frozen, but we do own Frozen Classic number 53, and we will wedge it in between a couple of these movies, and of course this collection is going to be growing very, very soon. But for now, I have Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the double pack of Fantasia, and Fantasia 2000, and as you guys can probably tell, this is in chronological order, and I'm also putting all of my animation together. So continuing on, 101 Dalmatians, we've got the double pack of The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under, The Great Mouse Detective, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, and this is not a classic, but I'm keeping it here for now. It is DuckTales, the movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp. The next shelf is Pixar films, and I've got them all, including the 2 Pixar short volumes, and I'm looking forward to a hopeful Volume 3. But Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, Brave, Monsters University, Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur, and of course this space will be for Finding Dory and most likely Cars 3 and Coco. The next shelf is my Studio Ghibli films, and something else, which I'll get to later, but I don't have all the Ghibli films because I've seen them all, but I don't necessarily enjoy them all. So the ones that I own are the ones that I like. So we have The Castle in the Sky. This is a rare copy of My Neighbor Totoro because it is a DVD copy of the Fox Family Voice dub, as opposed to the Disney dub. Grave of the Fireflies, Kiki's Delivery Service, Pompoko, Whisper of the Heart, The Princess Mononoke, My Neighbors the Yamadas, Spirited Away, The Cat Returns, Ponyo, The Secret World of Arrietty, From Up on Poppy Hill, The Wind Rises, The Tale of Princess Kaguya, and of course When Marnie Was There. And I do plan to add Only Yesterday to this collection as well. And if I do plan to re-watch a couple of Ghibli films, which I will, maybe I will consider giving them some shelf space. And I also have the Jim Henson Non-Muppets collection, which includes The Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, Rest in Peace David Bowie, and Mirror Mask. Moving on to the next shelf, we have DreamWorks films. Same goes for the Studio Ghiblis. Didn't like all the DreamWorks films, so I just have the ones that I like. Shrek, Shrek 2, Shark Tale, Madagascar, Over the Hedge, Flushed Away, Shrek the Third, Madagascar, Escape to Africa, Monsters vs. Aliens, How to Train Your Dragon, Shrek the Final Chapter, Megamind, Puss in Boots, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted, Rise of the Guardians, This Is the Croods, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, and How to Train Your Dragon 2. As of now, I really don't enjoy any of the other ones that are out there, but who knows. Here are a bunch of animated films which are non-Disney, non-DreamWorks. These include Blue Sky, Illumination Entertainment, and maybe even some classics from my childhood like He-Man and She-Ra, The Secret of the Sword, Transformers the Movie, the 20th Anniversary Edition from 1987, Jetsons the Movie, The Iron Giant, Titan AE, The Powerpuff Girls Movie, Horton Hears a Who, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 1 and 2, The Adventures of Tintin, The Peanuts Movie, and now we're going to move on to a couple of live-action films, which are either directed by Robert Zemeckis or just fun fantasy types of films except for two, and that is Hook, Peter Pan from 2003, the first two Alvin and the Chipmunks, which were very nostalgic two films for me. Of course, the Back to the Future trilogy, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Forrest Gump. The next couple of films are all about music. Animusic 1 and 2 is a very interesting DVD set. It's computer animated music with images that are very, very cool. Go take a look on Amazon and also look up Wayne Lytle. It was a award-winning piece of work. Very cool if you're a fan of music. But moving on to the music-themed films, I've got 3, and that of course is the animated Yellow Submarine, Love and Mercy, and Straight Outta Compton. And then we've got 5 adult animated films. We've got Beavis and Butthead Do America, South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, The Simpsons movie, Aqua Teen Hunger Force: movie film for theaters, and the Drawn Together movie. And then we'll move on to a couple of films that are either duologies, or trilogies, or quadrologies, or whatever you're calling them, but they are definitely good films that I enjoy. I've got Tron and Tron Legacy, National Treasure and National Treasure 2, Night at the Museum, Night at the Museum, Battle for the Smithsonian, and Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, and all 4 Hunger Games films. The next entire row is all comic book movies in chronological order, just like everything else. So here we go, starting from the Batman movie from 1966. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live-action film, the CGI TMNT from 2007, The Mask, The Crow, all 3 Men in Blacks, all 3 Blades. Now, here is a different thing. With the X-Men films, I put them in film chronological order. So X-Men First Class technically comes first, and then X-Men X2, X-Men The Last Stand, and X-Men Days of Future Past, and I do in fact have the Road Cut. When it comes to Spider-Man, the only ones that I enjoyed were the Sam Raimi films, minus Spider-Man 3, so I have Spider-Mans 1 and 2. Road to Perdition, which is one of the most unique and overlooked comic book-based films, of course, and directed by Sam Mendes, who directed American Beauty. A lot of people don't enjoy The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but I did. I saw it 2 times in theaters, and it still is a fun movie. Hellboys 1 and 2. I also have the 3-disc director's cut of Hellboy, as well as the 3-disc special edition with digital copy of Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. I have Sin City and Sin City: A Dame to Kill For, and the Sin City version that I have is the recut, extended, and unrated edition, which splits all the stories up into their own stories, and you can also see the film on its own, and it also includes the first graphic novel, which is pretty awesome. I have all 3 special editions of the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy. I have Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. I have both of the Fantastic Fours, of course, before the blunder that is Fan-4-Stick, and I don't care what anybody says about these 2 films. I enjoy them, I just have fun with them. The 2-disc special edition of V for Vendetta, A History of Violence, the 2-disc special edition of 300, as well as the 2-disc special edition of 300 Rise of an Empire, which I do enjoy as well. I now go on to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I have as many special editions as I could find. I have Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America the First Avenger, The Avengers, Iron Man 3, Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, The Avengers Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man, and I'm looking forward to beginning with Wave 3. I also have Zack Snyder's ultimate cut of Watchmen, the complete story. I actually did a video reviewing the box, so I will put a link to that video so you can get a look inside. I also have Kick-Ass, Red and Red 2, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Green Lantern. It's a personal favorite of mine. I do sort of enjoy it, so I have no shame in actually showcasing it. Dread, Man of Steel, and I also have over here Kingsman, and there is a little bit of room that will house Batman v Superman. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next row, these are all science fiction themed films or comic book films or something or other, I don't know. But we've got The Warriors from 1979, which is one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, The Lost Boys, Mortal Kombat, which to me is one of the only decent movies based on a video game, but hopefully Warcraft will also be good. The Fifth Element, which is one of my favorite films of all time. Donnie Darko. The Ultimate Matrix Collection, which includes the Animatrix and tons of special features. The Collector's Edition of Serenity. The Collector's Editions of Transformers and Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. I kind of do enjoy those two films. Speed Racer, which is one of the most underappreciated films that I have ever seen. I love that movie to death. Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness, Super 8, and of course Guillermo del Toro's Pacific Rim. This shelf is true legendary films and films that really change the landscape in how movies are made. We've got Duck Soup, Casablanca, and yeah, that takes up half the shelf. I am going to be reviewing Casablanca soon, so don't worry. I will definitely explain this edition of Casablanca. The special edition of Singin' in the Rain, 12 Angry Men, Some Like It Hot, The Apartment, It's a Mad, 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 Mad World, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the DVD collection of The Godfather, that's all 3 plus special features, the 2-disc special edition of Akira, Do the Right Thing, United 93, Whiplash, and Spotlight. The last couple of films on this row are my Quentin Tarantino, my David Fincher, and my Martin Scorsese films, along with a couple added in. So we've got the Tarantino films, we've got Reservoir Dogs, True Romance, which he wrote, didn't direct, great movie either way, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bills Volumes 1 and 2, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, and of course Hateful Eight. Fincher's films, I've got Fight Club, I've got The Social Network, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Gone Girl. I also included The Untouchables in this group because it sort of does fit. And then my Scorsese films, so far I have Goodfellas, Casino, The Departed, and The Wolf of Wall Street. And I have the 2 Boondock Saints films, which if you have not seen the Boondock Saints, you are missing out. This row is crazy and outrageous comedies, and you can't have a collection of these kinds of comedies without movies from the legendary Mel Brooks and, of course, Monty Python. So we've got Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, Spaceballs, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, all my favorites, and I've got all 4 Monty Python films. And now for something completely different, The Holy Grail, Life of Brian, and The Meaning of Life. I also have Weird Al Yankovic's UHF, I've got Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, I've got The Big Lebowski, and I will be adding Hail Caesar to this collection. I've got Mike Judge's Office Space. This movie you probably have never heard of. It is called The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human. Go look it up and see it. I've got some Broken Lizard films, I've got Super Troopers and Beer Fest, I've got Jackass the Movie, and here are some Edgar Wright films, including Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Paul, which is not a Edgar Wright film, but it stars Edgar Wright's duo, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and Attack the Block, which is written by his good friend and co-writer on most of his films, Joe Cornish. The next row is teen comedies. Everything from John Hughes to other very famous teen comedies. So, we've got American Graffiti, Porky's, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Weird Science, Pretty in Pink, Dazed and Confused, PCU, Reality Bites, Empire Records, Can't Hardly Wait, all 4 American Pie films, which are all unrated, Detroit Rock City. If you haven't seen this movie, I highly recommend that you do. Accepted, very underappreciated in my eyes, Charlie Bartlett, which is so great, and Superbad. The next row are my Tim Burton movies and something else. So we've got Beetlejuice. This is the Steelbook of Edward Scissorhands. We've got Ed Wood, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Sleepy Hollow, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows, and Frankenweenie. And what links this to this is, of course, Johnny Depp. I've got all 4 Pirates of the Caribbean films, and I do enjoy all 4 of them. The next grouping of films are all of my DC Animated Universe movies, which includes Batman Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and the rest are known as the DCU, which are all stories that are mostly based on graphic novels as well as other things that Bruce Timm and all of his great creators put together. So we've got Superman Doomsday, Justice League The New Frontier, Batman Gotham Knight, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern First Flight, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, Justice League, A Crisis on Two Earths, Batman Under the Red Hood, Superman, Batman Apocalypse, Superman Shazam, The Return of Black Adam, which is a collection of DC animated shorts, including some of the not so well known in the DC worlds like The Spectre and Jonah Hex. All-Star Superman, Green Lantern Emerald Knights, Batman Year One, Justice League Doom, Superman vs. the Elite, Batman The Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and 2, Superman Unbound, Justice League The Flashpoint Paradox, Justice League War, Son of Batman, Batman Assault on Arkham, Justice League Throne of Atlantis, Batman vs. Robin, Justice League Gods and Monsters, and Batman Bad Blood. And there is plenty of space for the future projects because I've got Justice League vs. Teen Titans coming very soon, and I am so excited for Mark Hamill's return as the Joker in Batman the Killing Joke. The next grouping of films are, I don't really know. They're just very heartwarming, coming-of-age kind of stories, I guess. So we've got Stand By Me, School Ties, Train Spotting, The Count of Monte Cristo, Catch Me If You Can, Crash, 500 Days of Summer, Help, 50-50, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Dope, and Steve Jobs. And these are the only horror movies that I own. It is all 7 Saw films. Over here, we've got the next row, which is movies that are directed, produced, or written by the great Ivan Reitman, followed by movies that star a Saturday Night Live cast member. So we've got Animal House, Stripes, both Ghostbusters, Private Parts, Road Trip, Evolution, Old School, Euro Trip. And then we've got the SNL movies. We've got Caddyshack, we've got Trading Places, Beverly Hills Cop, Wayne's Worlds 1 and 2, Coneheads, which stars almost every Saturday Night Live cast member, the 4 Adam Sandler movies that I actually enjoy, which is Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore in a double pack, Big Daddy and Mr. Deeds, and we've got Tommy Boy and Half Baked. The next couple of films, we start off with some very cute family films, followed by some very smart comedy films, and then followed by Kevin Smith films. So we've got Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Gremlins, The Goonies, Clue, which is so great, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Mrs. Doubtfire, the Behind the Scenes edition, The Birdcage, School of Rock, Hitch, which is very underappreciated, Wedding Crashers, the 40-year-old version unrated, and Horrible Bosses, and of course, all of my Kevin Smith films, which are Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, and the only TV show that I have in my movie shelf, and that is Clerks, the animated series. Really links with the films and really very funny. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and Clerks 2. The next row includes 2 different themes, movies about money-making and movies about sports. So we've got over here, Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps, which I thought was a good follow-up. Not as great as the original, but Michael Douglas did a good job. Glengarry Glen Ross, Boiler Room, and A Most Violent Year, which is one of my favorite films right now. And my sports movies, which include The Bad News Bears, The Karate Kid Collection, The Mighty Ducks, and The Mighty Ducks 2 in a double pack right over here. The Sandlot, Rudy, Remember the Titans, Miracle, Dodgeball, which is a sports movie, and Rush, which is very unknown and underrated. It's one of Ron Howard's strongest films, and Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl are so amazing in this film. Hopefully before the battery runs out, I will go through all of my big box sets. So this, of course, is my Star Wars collection. I have episodes 1, 2, and 3, the micro series known as the Clone Wars, which was really good, not the CGI, but the animated one. I've got episodes 4, 5, and 6 in a box set. Indiana Jones in a box set, including Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've got the Ultimate Harry Potter editions, so I've got all 7 Harry Potter films. Maybe one day I'll go into an unboxing and give you guys the details on those. I also have The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit in their extended editions, and to close it off, I have the 3 Chronicles of Narnia films. So that's my collection, everybody. I really hope it didn't disappoint. I really wish that I could have gone into more details and showing you guys a couple of DVDs on the inside, including what they all come with, etc., etc. So maybe one of these days I will be able to do some unboxings or whatever they're called to just show you guys what's inside all of these collections, because some of these DVDs are very unique and very hard to come by right now. And as I did say, this is not my entire collection. There are so many other DVDs that will be joining this collection, like Batman v Superman, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and many others to follow. But for now, that's it, and I'm really hoping that you enjoyed my shelf tour, and I really appreciate your patience for waiting. So for now, please leave your comments in the box below. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words. Hey, if you guys get me to 5,000 subscribers, I know that this collection's going to be much bigger, so maybe we'll go over this one at some point in time? Maybe?